Welcome. Yay. Okay. So we're going, I say just, but we're going to sit. We're going to simply sit as our opening posture. Anything that's comfortable. Perhaps sitting cross-legged is not comfortable and you'd rather open your legs. Wherever you feel comfortable. That you can sit. Close your eyes or look down at the floor. Lengthen your spine. And feel your shoulders stacked over your hips. Beginning to notice the air coming into your body and going out. In and out. Tonight, try to make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Hey, Donna. Yay. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice or a dedication, it's a nice time to do it just here in your silence. As you get out of your head and come into your body. Let's inhale together. And as you exhale, from the bottom of your spine, begin twisting your torso, backbone by backbone, to the right side. Let the right hand come behind in a tent or maybe on the floor, depending on how long your arm is. The left arm comes and rests gently on the right leg. And this is just a test posture. For those of you who have been rolling with me for the last several weeks, I'd like to just test out where we're at. So we're doing an inventory of where we might feel blocks. Now, if you think of your PDF and that spiral line, you know we have a big X right across our back, going down into our hips. So just imagine that image and notice the sensations in your back. Come back to center, and then we're going to twist to the left. Left arms behind to lengthen our spine. It's a soft, gentle twist. We're just testing. We're not trying to release or do anything. Just noticing. You decide where you'd like your gaze. Maybe it's down the pocket of your shirt. Stretch out your neck a teeny bit. Maybe it's straight on. Come back to center. Lean back and switch the front leg if you've got your legs crossed. If it's stacked, switch the top leg. If you've got them separated, you don't need to do anything. We're just going to do that again because of the opposite nature of the spiral line. Inhale. Exhale from the bottom of the spine like a barbershop light, an old-fashioned barbershop light. Bring your body over to the right side, your upper body. Noticing perhaps a difference, maybe less blockage, maybe more, back to center. And then I'm going to move our entire torso, backbone by backbone, over to the left. And then go ahead and bring it back to center. So it won't roll as extensively as we have in the past weeks, excepting for my birthday week last week. We didn't either because of the tools. And those of you who don't have tools, I'll work with you in getting the tools. But first, what we're going to do is along the spine, so those lines that come down. So what I'd like you to think about is your back separated in two different sections on either side of your spine with your cushion. So maybe you can even roll up your cushion a little bit, or your towel, or your small foamy. We're going to place that at the top of our hip and then come down on the right side of our spine. Use your elbows to stay up first, and then slowly come down with a little bit of extra pressure, leaning over to the right side. So even a cushion works, yeah. All we're doing is trying to get into those lines a little bit and give them a little bit of a massage. Those of you who have a roller, you can move back and forth towards the spine. Try to stay directly off the spine if you can, but you can get close. And then once you find a semi-comfortable position, let yourself sink. Let your dog lick your face. The cat swish your tail. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. And then we're going to come up onto our elbows, tucking our chin, and we're going to move it to the other side. So move your cushion, your roll, over to the other side of your spine. The end of it is sitting at the top of your glutes. Then we're going to come down, putting a little bit of extra pressure on this side. You might hear some cracking going on. It's your ribs making some space. And then coming back, finding a little bit of a massage. Those of you who are on a roller, well, actually the cushion folks might try this too, pushing into your feet. Lift your pelvis a bit, and you get a little extra pressure. You might roll around until you find something. You might even find that it goes up higher into your deltoids and your shoulders. Then we'll just take 3 deep breaths here in silence. And tucking your chin and coming up. Now, I was going to roll the outside of your legs, but if you have a cushion, you might not feel much. Those of you who would like to, you have it rolling the outside of the IT band into our glutes. So those of you with cushions, what you might do, So those of you on rollers, you take care of yourselves. You roll from the front top along your glutes to the outside, all the way down to the foot, all the way down to the foot, and the stirrup, the line comes across the bottom of the foot, and then you take your roller and you manually roll inside. Okay? So those of you on towels or cushions wrapped up, rolled up, place the cushion underneath your glutes, and you have to actually roll yourself a little bit more. So it's just like a gentle massage on your glutes. And then you're going to roll your legs. You actually have to do a little bit more manual work because you roll. The tool doesn't. Down. And if you're not feeling anything on the outside of that calf, put some weight on top. The other leg. Come down the outside. Make sure that you get the outside of that foot because that's where a lot of it goes. You can even manually massage the stirrup of the foot. And then taking your pillow roll or your cushion, pressing and rolling on the inside. And we'll do it on the other side. Starting at the glute, sitting down using your body weight, and then moving around, massaging. The roller. And then again, if you find a spot and you're like, ooh, that's a little bit of a knot, you can stay there. Try to use your breath to soften other places that have been tensed up because of finding that. And then you can even come down and roll. Try not to sink too much in your shoulder. Try to keep up and, oh yeah, then you can even still get this. You can still get it. A little extra pressure. The outside of the leg, your IT band. Moving it down to the outside. It's a little bit behind the shin. And then if you can put some pressure on if you're not feeling much. All the way down into the foot. It's very hard to find sensation with a cushion in the foot, so maybe you massage the stirrup, which is down straight from the ankle to the other side of the ankle. There's that line, just give it a little bit of manual manipulation. And then moving it on the inside of the shin. Up to the knee. And from knee into the pelvis. Okay. So if one of these feels good in class, I encourage you 2 days after to do it again. Does your body really good? Come back with me into your opening position and we'll retest. It's so weird, Melissa, you're looking up at me like that. All right, so let's see if we've created any more space. Don't be too judgmental because we didn't spend a lot of time, but perhaps you have freed up something in your back, perhaps in your hips with that. Inhale deeply, and on your exhale, bring your body to the right side. And notice if there's a difference from the first time you did this. Back to center. And we'll do it to the other side. Yeah. Pretty soon you guys are going to be Linda Blairing it on me, going all the way around. A little bit of 80s reference. Come back to the center, lean back. Oh boy. One of the worst things about getting older, I think, is having to check a new demographic on surveys. Take a deep inhale. Turn to the right. Notice the difference, if there's any. And if there's not, try not to make too many judgments. Even this is starting our yin practice. You don't have to roll to access myofascial lines. That's why yoga is so good for us, and it feels good because we access them in different postures. And the spiral line in particular, parts of it are deep inside. It's not as superficial as the superficial front line and the superficial back line. Back to center. So the twisting that I've got planned for you will access it just as much, if not more, deep inside. And then back to center. Good. But of course, after that, I have to look at my notes, what I had planned for you. Okay. The deer forward fold. So, the deer forward fold. Tiffany, you've not done this. I think everybody else has done this. We've got the bottom leg coming directly out from our body. Okay. The shin is parallel to whatever side of the mat you're on. The top knee is more or less in line with the arch of the front foot. Now, remember, this is your practice and we're all different, so it might feel better for you to bring the leg back even more if you've got space. It might feel horrible, so you bring your legs out more, the bottom leg out more to that side, and then that one meets it. So wherever you're at. Then we're going to turn towards the bottom leg side. Take a deep inhale and walk your hands out and bring your body down so that you're resting on your forehead. And if that's too deep, bring your stack of cushions or your towels or your blankets or your bolster underneath your torso. So find your edge and then find it a more comfortable position that you can hold for 3 minutes. And because rolling for many people is heat-inducing and not at all relaxing, I encourage you to come back to the breath of the longer exhale. So if it helps you to get out of your head right now, count the number of seconds it takes to fill your lungs, and then exhale for 1 second longer. Take 3 deep breaths. And then to come out, remember with our yin, we come out very slowly. Hands come underneath your shoulders. Gently lift yourself up. Keep your legs where they're at, because before we go to the other side, in between, I'm going to take us into a posture we've not done before, and it's deer reclined. So I'm going to shift my legs a little bit down, or a little bit back, if you will, and then I'm going to come back. I've got my bolster. I might not need my bolster. Yeah, I don't need my bolster. So I'm on my back. Both shoulders are reclined. Now, the problem with this one is that the top leg might feel a little bit flopping in air. It's all right if it's flopping in air, unless it's causing you to tense up anywhere else. If that happens, grab whatever you have handy, any kind of cushion, anything, and just let it, yeah, just put it down. So your work is to take an inventory of your body at this point and notice if that shifting of the hips created any kind of tension in your shoulders. If it did, try to use your breath to soften. That's not going to happen. Shift your body position so you can relax your shoulders. Have you tensed in your pelvis area? Let it go. See if you might stay where you're at without getting up to look at the camera. See if, I'll watch you, see if my cues work for you. Bring both knees towards the ceiling or the sky, and then bring them both over to the opposite side, and you almost are in your position. You might have to shift your top leg a bit, but you should be almost in the same position, reclined deer, on the opposite side. Good. Let your mind come back to your extended exhale breath. We're going to take 3 deep breaths together. Lean slightly towards the bottom leg side. Use the top hand to help yourself come up. Keep your legs where they're at. And then you can take your bolster or your cushions, or if you don't have anything, that's okay too. And we're going to do the deer twist on the opposite side. So the cushions or the stack comes directly out of my hip perpendicular. I turn my chest towards that side. Bring my chest down and rest. Or on the floor if it's more accessible to you than it is to me. Yeah. Three deep breaths. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Use them to come up slowly. Ooh, nice and slow. Knees come towards the sky or the ceiling. Out in front of you. Try to lengthen your back, opening your chest, letting your back come into its natural curves. And then opening and closing for our counter posture. Opening and closing your knees. It might feel good side to side, you decide. And then we're going to come onto our backs. And we're going to do what's called the shoelace, but on our backs. Have a look first, perhaps. If you have a belt handy, it might come in handy. So it's going to look like this. Your legs are crossed, but we're going to be lying down, and you're going to be grabbing the outside of your ankles or your shins. Some of you might be able to get to the outside of your feet. The key is to be able to relax those shoulders. So if when you're laying down, the body parts aren't accessible without you lifting up and hunching over and getting all counterintuitive to what we're trying to do here, then what you do is take your belt, place it on the outsides of your feet so that you can just let them hang there like that. Okay? Can you bend your legs, Judy? Yes, Judy Titzer, yeah, sorry. That feel good? Okay. Actually, you know what you can do? You can use the railing. So cross your knees, Kate. Yeah, like that. You can also use your furniture if you've got furniture or that railing. That's it. Do you feel something in your hips? Yeah, that's okay. Just crossing your legs like that's fine. Maybe bring your knees to your chest and bring the belt underneath your thighs instead. Yeah, there you go. So you feel something in your hips that way? Okay. Yeah. Try not to have a death grip on that belt. Relax your shoulders. Good. Try to come back to that breath in particular. It's hard to get into this posture. Try to relax your shoulders, let gravity take hold. That bottom leg can be on the floor and you could cross one ankle over the knee. Yeah, and you probably feel something in your hips the closer you bring your foot to your pelvis. Slowly let yourself come out of the posture, letting go of your belt or your hands. Judy Titsy, you can just undo the cross and bring both soles of your feet to the floor. Yeah. And we're going to go right away to the other side. So other leg is on top. Don't be surprised if maybe you have a different range of motion with this one. I'll remind you, things to be conscientious of. Relax your shoulders. Try to keep the ego out of this. There's nothing, it's about sensation. It's about opening the sidelines and our hips. Some of you might feel even compression in the groin area. Where can you find, what do you need to do with your tools to adjust the posture to your body, not your body to the posture. So that you can find freedom of breath. Three deep breaths. I'm going to let the feet come back down to the floor, undoing the cross in your legs. Before we move our knees, let your back come back into its natural curves. And then just like we did with our torso upright, windshield wash from side to side or in and out, whatever feels good to you. And of course, stillness is always an option. There doesn't have to be counter postures. It can be just feeling the sensation of the posture that you just were in, feeling it in your body. And then we're going to come back to seated. So come to the side, protect your heart and your neck by using that top hand to help you. And we're going to come into what's called a half diamond. So if you remember, the diamond is butterfly, a little bit more open. So right now we're in half butterfly. I'm sticking something under my special knee so that it doesn't float. Okay. Turn towards the outstretched leg. Long spine first, and then begin to fold. Now, those of you without tools, it might feel uncomfortable. I won't keep us here but a couple 2 minutes. If you do have stacks and cushions and blocks, do use them so that you can totally collapse down. Okay. If you have to use your hands, it's no biggie. It's just not quite as releasing, or I should say as relaxing as it might be. Three deep breaths. And slowly let yourself come back up. Be now. And then we're going to, before we do the other side, in fact, do move it right into our diamond first. So, feet are out in front, soles of the feet together. Open your chest. Tilt your pelvis by pushing your sitting bones back. So you kind of scooch your hind end back so that your front part can come down towards the floor. Now, don't make judgments. I just I'm really, really flexible in my hamstrings, so I'm able to come down pretty far. Don't be surprised if you're different, because we're all different. And this feels good if you can build yourself up, putting cushions or towels, or if you don't have it, you just let yourself round, let your back round, and hang out. Take 3 deep breaths with me. Slowly we're going to come back up. I'm sure by now you've noticed that some of the postures you feel quite creaky getting out, others not so much. So it all depends on the day and your body that day. So we are going to move it now to the half diamond on the other side. My left foot and leg is bent out in front of me. And then I'm going to slightly twist my torso toward the outstretched right leg. Take a deep inhale and then slowly hinge and see where you're going to end up. Now, if you're not going to end up very far like me, that's okay. If you don't have any tools, that's fine. Just be here and be soft. Don't stress out about not having the tools. This is fine. If it's too much, though, and you're feeling pressure on your spinal column, bring yourself up and maybe use your arms to rest. Your attention back into your body. Slowly bring it back up. Awesome. All right, move slowly, letting your back gently come back. We're going to move it onto our backs. Having a block or a book or a bolster, cushions handy might be useful for you. A series of spinal twists that I don't want to be too deep because we're doing so many. So the first one is we're going to slide our heels towards our pelvis and then cross your left leg over your right leg. Bring your arms out to wherever it's comfortable. I like my palms up, but that's just, it feels freeing to me, but you might be different. So my arms are perpendicular to my body, my palms are up, meaning my shoulders can relax down, my chest is open, And then on your exhale, bring your left knee over to the right side of your mat, but re-stretch out the right leg. So you might find that this is pretty deep. So if you're starting to feel like, oh, that's a little bit much for my back, shift your hips so that your hips are even stacked on top of one another. Place the brick or whatever tool under, and then slowly come back to the place where you think you can stay for a couple, 2-3 minutes. If it's feeling like not relaxing at all, consider bending the bottom leg or placing your right hand on top of the left thigh. If that feels really nice, you decide you can stay here. Or if you'd like to experiment, stretch out the top leg. Go ahead and stay here if you feel this is doing your body good. If you'd like to add to it, bring in the cat's tail. So what you do with that one, Tiffany, you might not know this one, but you bend the bottom leg a little bit more, scoot the foot back, and then try and grab the foot or your pants, or just the gesture of going towards that place opens up your shoulder. So I'm trying to grab that foot. Mine's pretty inaccessible right now. So it's a modified cat pulling its tail. So slowly unravel, letting go of the back foot if you've got it. Lengthening it out. Bringing both legs so that they're together. And then coming onto your back. Letting your legs long, lengthen out underneath you, or I guess you were not really underneath, but you know what I mean. Lengthen your legs up. Let your back come back into neutral. All the nice, beautiful little curves. And then we're going to try this on the other side. So your right knee comes over your left. Spread out your arms as you'd like, and then both knees come over to the left side. You might have a different reaction on this side, so you might have to put something underneath, or perhaps you don't on this side. Lengthen out the bottom leg first to see if that feels okay. And you decide, perhaps you don't want that. Perhaps you want the bottom leg bent. Maybe you want your left hand on your right thigh. Where can you be comfortably for 2 minutes? Take notice if you've just tensed your shoulders like I did. Try to relax. Try to soften. Stay here or lengthen the top leg. Stay here or bend the bottom leg if it's not already. Take the top arm or top hand and try to reach back towards the foot or the pant leg, or just the gesture of really opening your shoulder, your right shoulder. And then slowly unraveling yourself. Letting go of the foot, the leg, lengthening the bottom leg, bringing the top leg slowly to meet the bottom leg, and making your way onto your back. Stretching out through your heels, letting the natural curves of your back return. And letting yourself fall naturally into your final posture, letting your body go into the Savasana. Letting your legs flop open, your chest nice and soft and open as your shoulders fall to the floor. Notice how nice and soft and gentle your breath is. Take your final resting posture. If you've decided that you're going to stay here for a while, you just stay here. If you decided that you have a few more things that you'd like to accomplish or do, make your way up to your bedroom. Go ahead and begin moving your body parts, but move it all slow, nice and slow, gentle, not shocking your nervous system, back into the rush that it's used to. Nice and slow, feeling the softness that you've created in your body. And then when you're ready, making your way to one side and coming all the way up. If it's comfortable for you, put your hands at your heart in Anjali Mudra, prayer position. Thanking yourself for practicing. Because you have a choice. Namaste, everybody.